going on, everyone out there in YouTube land? So today we are going to check out a device and a tank that comes as the kit. This one coming from Kangertech, and this is the Spider Kit. At the moment, I am vaping on some of the Royal Vape Strawberry Custard Donut, very, very heavily steeped. I found this sitting in the back of my shelf. Ooh, it's delicious. I got it set to around 75 watts. Got it set for 2 coils, and you're probably wondering, what do I mean, set for 2 coils? We'll find out in a moment, but first, let's have a vape. Not bad, not bad. Now, the Spider Kit was sent over directly by Kanger for the purpose of this review. If you guys are looking to pick one up or check one out after the video, I'll have a few links posted in the description. Now, after doing a search online, I found it at Heaven Gifts, and I found it at Kanger directly. Going price for the kit, $62.90. Alright guys, let's have an up-close look at the Spider Kit. This one coming from Kangertech. Quick look at the presentation box. Nothing really too fancy about the box, but inside the box you will get the Spider device. Along with the mod, they will include the Kanger 5.6 Mini sub-ohm tank. There's a coil head pre-installed. They also include a second coil head. They will include an extra glass tank with some O-rings. You'll get a micro USB charging cable, and they will include a user manual. Dimensions on the Spider, we're looking at 82 millimeters tall, 42 millimeters wide, and 35 millimeters thick. It is available in a few different color options. I'll toss them up on the screen. It's constructed of a zinc alloy and a combination of aluminum, and if we do a quick size comparison of the Spider up against the Asmodus Minikin version 2, which is a dual 18650. You guys will see the Minikin is about the same height, almost the same size as the Spider. The Spider, of course, is a little bit larger, but just to give you a general idea on its size. Starting at the top, we have a stainless steel 510 connection. What I like most about the 510 is that it's nice and centered with the device, so everything looks good on top of here. If we screw down a 30 millimeter RDA, you guys will see that 30 millimeters looks perfect. Absolutely no overhang. It does sit nice and flush, and we actually have a little bit of room to spare. Along the side is going to be your firing switch. We have a nice large button. It does sit flush with the mod, as you can see there. It is clicky. It is responsive. I have had a few instances where I go to press the button and nothing happens. It only happened a few times. Nothing really to complain about, but it has happened. Now, one thing about this button is because it sits flush, and the opposite side looks exactly the same, sometimes I'll go to grab the mod and I don't look at it, and I'll be pressing on this side thinking there's a button there, and then realize, oh wait, the button's on this side. So yeah, I wish the button did stick out a little bit more. At the bottom of the device, we do have some holes cut out for battery ventilation. Now, this device does use a 4200 milliamp hour internal battery, so of course we cannot remove the battery. There is no battery door. And in order to charge the device, at the top right here is going to be your micro USB port. We do have charging over USB, of course, since the battery is internal. And I do believe the 4200 is probably a little bit overrated. The battery life on here did not feel like a 4200 milliamp hour battery. On the front is going to be your screen, and you'll see we have this triangular cutout for the screen. Now, the font is a little small, but the brightness is really good, so you can see this one outdoors with no problem. We'll talk about the menu system in a moment. Below that, we don't have any wattage buttons because we have this little wheel. And to adjust your wattage or to select your menu, you're going to end up spinning the wheel, either right or left. We don't have a push feature, so the only way you can do this is either right or left. Below that is going to be your battery indicator screen, and I actually really like this. And as you can see, we have your indicator bars letting you know how much battery life you have left. So as your battery drops, of course, you're going to lose bars. Now, as far as the construction of the device itself, we have this carbon fiber look along these sides, and I do believe this is a wrap. I'll check it out in a moment, but it is made of zinc alloy, so it does have a nice weight to it. And you see we have a little bit of a grip back here, and this grip actually comes in really handy. It's really comfortable to hold. It's a nice shape, and as far as anything else, it's pretty kind of plain looking. At least the black one is pretty plain looking. And you can see we have the Kanger logo. I think this is the Kanger logo at the bottom, unless it's like a design for the Spider mod. But as far as the carbon fiber, let's grab the one that I've been using. and we'll see if this actually is a wrap. What I try to do is get my finger behind here, and if I can pull it off, it's a wrap. If I can't, it's not a wrap. And I can tell you right now that this is a wrap, and actually it looks better without the carbon fiber on it. So we pull the carbon fiber off. There we go. So there's what it looks like without the carbon fiber. Not too bad, actually. Let's have a closer look at the screen and the menu functions. Now at the top right here is going to be the mode that you're currently in. I'm in power mode. We have the boost. I have it set for hard at the moment. We have your wattage. This one will go all the way up to 200 watts in power mode. We have your little puff meter. So as you vape, you'll see the bar will increase. Below that, we have a puff timer, resistance of your coil, and the voltage being applied. Now to access the menu, it's going to be 3 clicks of the firing switch, and you're going to use the little wheel to navigate through the menu. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to use the little wheel. We got power mode, we got nickel, titanium, stainless steel. DIY 1 and 2 will be your custom TCR. We have the work time. This one will vape for 20 seconds, or you could set it all the way down to 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, the menu is really quick. And of course, we have your brightness. The brightness at the moment is turned all the way up. It is fairly bright. And then we have lock. So if we go over to temperature mode, we'll select nickel. We can select our boost. We cannot adjust the wattage in temperature mode. This one will go between 200 and 600 degrees Fahrenheit in temperature mode. 1, 2, 3 to go back into the menu. Now if we go over to lock and we select yes, what this does, it actually locks in the power settings, but you can still vape. I wish it was set to where it would lock the entire device, so that way if you put it in your pocket, it's not going to accidentally fire. To unlock it, 3 clicks of the firing switch, 1, 2, 3, and now we're unlocked. And then to turn the device on or off will be 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's have a look at the provided sub-ohm tank. This tank is pretty interesting. This is the 5.6 mini tank. It's a 26 millimeter sub-ohm tank. At the top, we do have a Delrin and stainless steel drip tip. This one is not removable, and you cannot use your own drip tip. So this is the only tip that you're going to be able to use. Now we do have top fill, and to fill this one up, all you're going to do is just unscrew the fill cap, and you'll see we have your fill ports located at the top. The tank capacity on here is going to be 4 mLs, and of course you do get that extra glass tank in case you break it. And then we do have dual airflow control. The air slots I measured out to be around 14 millimeter by 2 millimeter. So we do have decent airflow on here. And then at the bottom, we're going to have these little kind of notches. And you'll notice you can actually move these. Now you guys can really notice it. And there's also going to be little LED indicators. And I'll show you this in a moment. We're going to screw it onto the mod. But what you can do here is you could select how many coils you want to use. So these large coils actually have 3 coils inside of there. And you have the option of selecting 1, 2, or 3 coils. Each coil will get you around about 60 watts. So you can either have it set for 60 watts, 120 watts, or 180 watts. So here's the tank that I've been using. And at the moment, I have all the coils turned off. So if I go to fire it, it's going to say check atomizer because it thinks there's no coils. Now to turn on one of the coils, you're going to push this little lever towards the right. That's going to connect the coil, and then you're going to see a little light right there, and that's going to indicate that you have that coil turned on. Now with one coil turned on, you'll see the resistance does change. If I can see that, I think it says 0.67. Now if we turn on a second coil, let's push this little thing to the right. It's not really the greatest way to select the coils because it's kind of hard to turn these on, but let's push that over. Now if I push the fire button, you'll see there's going to be 2 lights turned on. Where's the second light? There's 1 light, there's 2 lights. And then you'll see the resistance did change, 0.33. That's with 2 coils. And now if we turn on all 3, let's go over here. Push, I got that one over. And there we go, got that one over. Now all 3 lights will be on. There's 1, there's 2 lights, and there is, I hate the button on this thing. I can never tell where the button's at. See, I'm pushing on the sides right here, but the button's right here. All 3 lights are on, and you can see it's ohming out to a 0.21. So kind of a unique feature, I guess. Is it going to be usable? I'm not too sure, but yeah, you do have the option of turning on and off each of the coils, which will change the resistance, which in turn will change the vape. Now, if we break down the tank itself is pretty standard, just like all the other sub-ohm tanks. You got the glass, you know, whatnot. You could pop the glass off there. Some pretty beefy O-rings on this one. The coil head itself is actually pretty different. You cannot use any other coil heads with this, and I did try this tank on regular devices, and it did give me errors at times. So I don't believe this atomizer is going to work too well with other devices. If we unscrew this, at the bottom, you're going to see there's like 3 levels here. We have 3 different connections for the 3 different coils, and as you turn that little disc, it's going to make contact with each of these layers, which is kind of neat. And then down inside here, you'll see there's a little chip down inside there that does all the work, and I think that's the LED chip that's used to light up the little lights along the side. So it's a pretty interesting design, but once again, is it going to be usable in the real world? Now what I did is I pulled the coil head apart, and you guys will see we have 3 coils. Each coil is a parallel vertical coil. So we got 6 wires in total. How they managed to fit all that wire in this coil head is beyond me, but I'm not sure if they're using Kanthal or stainless. But just to give you a quick look at the wire, and yeah, that's pretty much going to be it, guys, for the coil head. All right, so I got all 3 coils selected. Let's make sure here all 3 lights are turned on. I cranked this one up all the way up to 180 watts because they say that with all 3 coils, this can do 180 watts. So what we're going to do is have a 180 watt vape, and then we'll talk about it, all right? I can tell you right now, that was not a 180 watt vape. I got the boost turned all the way up to hard, and that felt like an 80 watt vape. Definitely not doing 180 watts. Now, I took my Blazer sub-ohm tank, I screwed it on top of here at 200 watts, and then I compared it up against my DNA 200, and I must say this device is greatly underpowered. I'm going to say it's doing around 140 watts, so it's not doing the advertised 200 watts, which is kind of a bummer for the high wattage vapors out there. Let's take the tank, actually, and let's screw it onto a device. Oh, actually, you know what? I can't do that. It doesn't work with other devices that well. So I was going to test it at 180 watts on my DNA device, but that's not an option. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the tank and the mod. Now, the tank itself, you know, this coil selectable option thing, it's different. It's new. I will give it that. But is it something that someone's actually going to use in the real world? I'm not too sure. Now, I did try vaping on it with the single coil, the double coil, the triple coil, and honestly, you don't notice that much of a difference. Really, honestly, you would think it would be like a dramatic difference, but it's not really all that much of a difference. The tank does get extremely hot, really hot, when you're running all 3 coils on it, so keep that in mind. Not being able to use your own drip tips, kind of a bummer. It is easy to fill. The flavor on it's not bad, but I've had better, and the airflow on it is decent. You know, it's got a nice restriction to it, but overall, I think the tank is more gimmicky than anything, honestly, in my opinion. Now, the device, you know, the device is built well. It feels good in the hands. It's got a nice weight to it. I actually like the way it looks when you remove the carbon fiber. Here's the carbon fiber, and here's with it removed. So it doesn't look actually that bad if the carbon fiber happens to accidentally, like, fall off for some reason. So the durability, not that bad on the device. The firing button, on the other hand, not a fan of the button. There's been times when I go to press it and nothing happens. So I have to, you know, remove my finger, press it again, and then it fires. Also, because of the button sitting so flush and because the button is like triangular, you got the screen that's triangular and you got this side that's triangular. So if you go to grab the mod and you don't look at it, sometimes your finger's going to end up roaming, wondering which side is going to be the button. So I just wish they made the button a different shape and it raised out a little bit more. 510 connection does sit nice and centered, so every atomizer does line up perfectly. I do like that. And I like the fact that 30 millimeters will fit perfectly on top of here with no overhang. As far as the menu, very easy to navigate. 3 clicks get you inside there. Use the little wheel. What I don't like about the menu is the locking feature. You have to go into the menu to lock it, and then it doesn't necessarily lock the device. It only locks in the power, so if you put it in your pocket, you can still fire it, which is not really how you're supposed to, you know, design a locking feature. The little wheel right here, once again, it's something different. It works. I can't really complain about it. It takes getting used to, though. I could tell you that. Adjusting your wattage, though, is pretty easy, but you have to keep flicking it and flicking it and flicking it. So, The battery life on here, not the greatest. Now, they advertise 4,200 milliamp hour. Doesn't really feel like 4,200. I got to charge this thing at least 2 or 3 times a day to use, you know, I'm a heavy vapor, I guess, but 2 or 3 times a day for a 4,200 milliamp hour battery seems a little off. So I think the battery they're using in here is a little bit overrated. I didn't take it apart, but yeah, it's got to be overrated. Or is it underrated? I forgot which one it is. But anyways, that's it, guys. That's it. I mean, you know, it's different. It has some different features to it, but at the end of the day, I think it's really gimmicky and just didn't really impress me all that much. Honestly, it didn't. But yeah, that's my opinion. There you have it. That's it, guys. That's all I got for you today. If you have any questions or comments on the Spider, please feel free to leave them below. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to everyone very, very soon. Make sure you guys build safe and vape on.